All right, so now we're going to talk about squares and rectangles. And I'm going to try to use a text box for these because my handwriting is so awful. But anyway, this is a rectangle. Opposite sides are the same, but they're not the same as each other. They all have 90-degree angles in the corners. A square, 90-degree angles in all the corners, and all four sides are the same. We actually use these formulas for everything. If you want to use these, you are welcome, but we just prefer using the rectangle formulas for all squares and rectangles. So let me get over here to making sure we all know what these letters mean. The P stands for perimeter. Now, the interesting thing about that is you should already know what perimeter is because when we play Find Your Match in class, we always say find your match and move to the outer perimeter of the room. So that's around the edge. And for a square, it is also a perimeter when you're going around the outer edge. Okay, so that's right here. That side, that side, that side, and that side. And for a rectangle, it's here, 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 and here, adding all those up. Now, you have a formula for perimeter for a rectangle, and you have a formula for a perimeter for your square. But we're going to give you our own perimeter formula. So let me start right here by typing perimeter equals add all the sides. Literally, that's what it is. If you add up all four sides, you will have your perimeter, okay? Or if you add up the sides to any shape around the outer edges, then you will have your perimeter, okay? So now let's come back up here and look at this. And this is where letters become very important and how you write them. Notice that perimeter is a lowercase p, but this is a uppercase A. And that's because it stands for area. Oops, I put too many capital letters in there. I'm so sorry. It stands for area. So this is area of a rectangle. Okay, so we are going to find how much or how much space is inside this entire rectangle. And if we come over here for the square, area stands for the same thing. And remember, this is a capital A, area, and it stands for all of the space inside of this flat square. Okay? L, I think you can probably figure out from the picture, is your length. Okay? It is the length of one side. It doesn't matter which you use as width and which you use as length as long as you're consistent. If this is L, this is L. If this is W, this is W. Okay? Now, what's different about a square, even though it means the same thing, is that this is called a side. Since they're all the same, they just call it side, 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 and side. Since these are a little different, they call them length and width, which I'll put right down here. Does it matter if the longer one is the length or the longer one is the width? No, it doesn't. It's all just a matter of what works for you. I am a little weird about this. I always make my longer side my length. I don't know why. It's just what I do. Maybe it's something they taught me in the dark ages when I was in school. And Amber, she'll do it either way. It works either way and she uses it either way. But as for me, I always use the longer side as length, shorter side as width. Either way works. And remember, perimeter is add up all your sides. It's how far it would take you to walk around this rectangle. Area is how far it would take you to, I don't know, spread dirt all over this rectangle or whatever, or color it in with a marker. That's your area. Okay, so let's go on to our next slide and let's look at some problems. This says Oak Ridge Middle School is constructing, that means building, a new soccer field for the spring. How much grass seed will they need to cover the entire field? Well, this word right here is telling you it's not just around the edge, it is the entire field. All of this green they want to cover in seed. Okay, so we're going to look at this and we're going to say, what is our formula for the area? Well, I'm going to write it down. Area equals, and if you look back at your rectangle, length times width. Why do I do them in cursive? I don't know, something else they taught me when I was little. So you can do this two ways. You can either do 80 times 120, or you could do 120 times 80, or you could do this. A equals LW, and you could say my length was 120. I'm going to do it the way I usually do, and my width is 80. Oops, sorry about that. I forgot the equal sign. And if you notice, it doesn't matter which way you do it, you always get the same answer. The area is 9,600 yards squared. Now that's something you do have to remember. So whenever you're calculating area, when you get an answer, it is going to be square units. So we're going to put yards squared. It's very important that you learn to recognize that, because when you see a square unit, you know, this is area. That's what I'm dealing with. All right. How much fence will they need to surround the field? Well, if we look at a fence, if we think about a fence, is the fence going to be all inside? Well, no, of course not. The fence is going to go around the perimeter, correct? So here we are finding perimeter, and just like I told you before, you can use a formula. I'm not going to, but I can show you how. And I am going to basically just add all the sides. So I'm going to come over here to my calculator, and I'm going to show you these. These two marks here and these two marks here match. They're called congruency marks. So if 2 marks is here and it's 120, that means 2 marks is here and this is also 120. Okay, and then let me look over here. If this is 80 yards with 1 mark, then over here with 1 mark is also 80 yards. Okay, so let me look here. I've got 120 plus 80 plus 120 plus 80. And that gives me a perimeter of 400. I'm not sure why I'm not using my stylus, because that would be much better, but let's just go with this for now. Now, for those of you that actually want to see the formula, I can show it to you, even though I'm not a fan, but you know, that's up to you. So I'm going to say perimeter equals 2L plus 2W. And L, I'm going to say is 120. And I'm going to say W is 80. And if you notice, the formula gives you the same answer, but personally, I just add all 4 sides. Okay? All right, let's see what's next. Ashley is remodeling her bedroom. Good job, Ashley. Her bedroom is a square that measures 12 feet by 12 feet. So if it says 12 by 12, that means this is 12 and this is 12. And if it's square, you know that all sides are exactly the same. So I'm going to use my congruency marks to show this is 12, this is 12, that mark tells me this is 12, and that mark tells me that's 12. So every single side is 12. And again, these are congruency marks. So it says, how much flooring will she need to buy? Well, flooring, you want to cover the entire thing, not just the edge. That would be a weird floor. So area, again, for a square, you could do side squared. But for the sake of simplicity and not having to memorize more than one set of formulas, which you won't because you have a formula sheet, I'm just going to say area equals length times width. Okay? And I'll start with length equals 12 and W equals 12, which gives me 144. Of course, I also could have just done 12 times 12, which gives me 144. So the area is 144. So when she goes to buy flooring, she has to make sure that it is going to cover 144 feet squared. Remember, area is always squared. As a matter of fact, let me go back here. And remember, this is 400 yards. It is not squared. I should have told you that before. Okay, so how much trim will she need to go around the edge of the flooring? Trim is going around the perimeter, just around the edges. Again, you can do it the way they do it, or I just add it all up, and which is 48 feet worth of trim. Just feet, not feet squared. That's for area. Of course, you could do 12 squared if you like, because the area of a square, I wouldn't. I would just multiply them. Or you could do area equals length times width and put in L equals 12 and W equals 12. There are many, many options on how to do this, so you need to pick what's comfortable for you.